All right, mic check, I'm good. So I'm Max Duran, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Duran, and in this environment here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, we are having a fantastic time. It is Skills National Competitions time. We're having nonstop students. We got like 12,000 students rolling through today.
Crazy.
And we got the podcast going, and we got this skills collaboration. So as a part of that, we have people from the NAC coming on. If you've been tuning in, you know this is one of many recordings that we're doing. And today we have Rosa Champagne, who's coming to us from BC, who is a cosmetologist, and we're going to learn what that is and the difference between hairstylist and esthetician, because I want to learn about that. And how you doing, Rosa?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just, we were just talking. I just had like an asthma attack. I believe it's the children.
Yeah.
I believe it's all the children and their gross germs. I did a trade show 3 weeks ago, and there was 3,000 high school students. And I swear I was sick. Like I had the flu for like the next 2 days.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Like there's just like they're little germ balls. Like I had kids, and my kids are growing up, so I guess I forget what it's like to have the kids bring home the sickness all the time from school. Like I've been like sick free for a long time, but yeah. So I'm there. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit jet lagged, but
Yeah.
I'm 2 hours behind,
Mhm.
or I guess 2 hours ahead here. So waking up at 5 o'clock my time is very interesting.
This is not part of your normal routine.
Definitely not. I mean, like a 7 o'clock is good. 5 o'clock is a little bit early, I think.
And where in BC are you?
So I'm just right in Vancouver.
Oh, you're right in
Yeah.
Van. Cool. Which side of Van? North Van, West Van,
East Van.
East
Born and
Van,
raised.
East Van. So
Yeah.
close to Surrey. Like how
No, so
east?
I'm like-
Coquitlam?
I was born and raised on Commercial Drive.
Okay.
And then I just live in like Hastings Sunrise area
Oh,
now. So right
nice.
by like Playland. That's
Yeah.
like the main attraction that everyone knows of
Yeah.
Vancouver.
I love Vancouver. My parents lived in Richmond for almost 20 years.
Mm,
Have lots of good friends out there. And it's,
yeah,
if I was a millionaire, I'd live there, but I'm not.
I know. You know what? Knock on wood. One day I'll have my own home. I doubt that it's going to be in
It's not a place
Vancouver,
where you
but-
buy unless you're rich, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful place to live, though.
Mhm. I miss the mountains when I'm
Yeah.
out here. I never really realized how much I loved them until I came out here. I think I got over like Alberta hump
Mhm.
on the plane, and everything was flat, and that was very shocking to me.
There's beauty in the flatness. Just as a prairie person, I
Yeah.
want to tell you that because I have
Mhm.
to defend our beautiful prairies.
Of
but
course, it is beautiful here, though. I've never experienced anything.
Is this
like
as far
this.
east as you've gone?
I've gone to like Ontario before, but like I've never really
Stopped
got
in the
to
prairies.
experience like the outside. Like I had my sister's best friend actually lives out here, and she lives I can't remember the name of her town, but about an hour out of town, and she lives on 14 acres of land.
Wow.
And it was just like the most amazing thing. I experienced a tick bite for the first time.
Oh, that's very
That was
prairies.
interesting.
Very
That was
prairies, yeah.
great.
It's tick
So-
season right now for everybody out there. Be careful.
Wear mosquito spray. Apparently that works.
Yeah, if you put mosquito spray around your ankles, then they
Mhm.
won't climb up either. That's a nice little trick.
Interesting.
Yeah. But they
That's
can
a
even
good
jump
one.
off trees and stuff. They're like jump on
Yeah.
you. So.
No, I definitely like hours later, I showered, I did everything. I still found a tick on myself.
Yeah,
I was
they
like,
don't care
"What?"
about water or any of that stuff.
No,
Like it doesn't
apparently
bother
you
them.
have to burn them
There's a few different ways.
or
You
like
can-
rip them in half.
yeah, you just got to make sure the head doesn't stay inside of you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you got to worry about. It doesn't really matter how you get it off,
Mhm.
but the head can't stay inside of you because then you get an infection. It's not like
Yeah.
you die or anything.
Yeah,
but it's
that's what I
gross.
was told too.
And if you get Lyme's disease, you'll know right away because it makes a bullseye mark. You get a bruise in the shape of a bullseye. That's
Interesting.
immediately get your butt to the hospital because
Okay.
there is a cure. I don't know if it's a cure, but
Mhm.
there is medicine for Lyme's disease, but they got to get it in you like immediately. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed I don't have a tick head somewhere on me.
All right. So let's talk about your career.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So right before the show, I was like, okay, I got your list here that you're an esthetician,
Mhm.
and, your hairstyling, and you're like, well, actually, I'm a cosmetologist because
Yeah.
it's like a mix. So
Mhm.
how does that work in training? So let's start like, you're going to start school.
Mhm.
What do you sign up for?
Okay, so I'll tell you the way I did it
Mhm.
because I mean that's the only story I could go off of.
Yeah.
So I signed up for aesthetics in 2019, and with VCC, Vancouver Community College, if any of you know that. And I signed up. I started, I think it was in November, and I finished in August. So it
So
was
it's
a
pretty
9-month
quick. Yeah.
program, and they marketed as skin and body therapy.
Okay.
So, I mean, you learn kind of everything from basic, just like sanitation and disinfection to like actual services. So, aesthetics is like almost anything you would find in a spa.
Okay.
So, like waxing, tinting, facials, body massage, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, that type of stuff. That's all under the realm of aesthetics.
And that would be like relaxation massages, not therapeutic, or it's also therapeutic?
Well, I would say in the sense it's like it's more so relaxation because as you probably know, a lot of people who do like massage therapy, they also have to go to school and specialize in that.
It's a different,
Yeah, it's a
specific
completely
thing. Yeah.
different thing, but you kind of get taught like basic massage techniques. And I truly think that a lot of aesthetics, it's personal preference and how you like to do things. They will show you like the standard and the basic, but it is very personable. Like you can do it on your own. Like you can do your own techniques. You can make your own techniques. It's very like personable. Like it's very different person to person.
And everyone probably has their strengths too, right? Like, and what they feel connects better for their style, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was aesthetics for me. It was a 9-month program. And then obviously, unfortunately, COVID happened. So I decided that I'm not exactly a person who can just like learn online. So I need to be there to like physically do it with my own hands and to see it in person, because I'm the type of person that you could tell me something or, like explain it to me 100 times. But if I don't do it myself or I don't see you do it, it's like one ear out the other. But if I see you do it, it's like, it's so much easier for me to like compute it and have it in my mind. So I think that's
I wonder
great.
what that is. I hear that so much now. And I makes me think like, have humans forever been like this? And then we like forgot and became this like readers and like books and this is the way to learn. Like I love to read, but very few people do. Like it's not a very common thing to like to sit at a desk and study. Like that's rare, right? And it's like, did we forget that and turn into this beast, and now that we're kind of coming out of it? Or, have we just forced ourselves to like into this corner where it's like, YouTube, this new visual learning world, where the generations now just have access to things visually that never existed?
I honestly think like the internet and just what's the word? The
Access
to everything. Like it's like the drop of a dime. You could learn anything. Like anything is Googleable.
Yeah.
Anything.
And then when you go to school, you don't want to just sit at a desk and read because you've never really had to do that,
Well, and like I think it really, really depends on how you learn. Like I could be like, a practical learner, but you could be like
a theoretical learner.
Yeah, exactly. So you could probably learn something like in a completely different way, or just take something different than I do out of something like that. So
now with COVID, this is very much a trade where you have to touch.
Yeah.
This is face to face. This is hand to hand, hand to skin.
Yeah.
So COVID is like, jobs are off. This is done. Or is it still like, okay, with tests, you can come to my house on the table for a massage. We'll both wear masks. Like, was there any movement, or were you dead in the water as far as your career?
So funny thing, I actually worked all of COVID. Yeah. I never had time off. Actually, I graduated from school, and I graduated during COVID. So I graduated in... It was a few years ago now. I don't even remember the exact dates, but I think it was August of 2021.
Okay.
I had graduated. No.
2020?
2020. Yeah, you're right. So I graduated, and it was very strange because my first half of my aesthetics course, it was in person, and I was I absolutely fell in love with aesthetics. As soon as I started doing it, I loved it. And it was just perfect. So it was very strange to go in person 3 times a week, full time, and then to just all of a sudden be on Zoom.
Zip. Yeah.
But like I said, I was very fortunate to be able to work all through COVID. So like you said, it's a very touch-based industry. Sorry.
Asthma?
Yeah, definitely. But it is a very touch-based industry. So you have to touch someone. You have to do that. And basically what was happening for me is anytime that I was doing like a facial, for example, like I was with a face mask, a face shield, and, you know, we were taking all the precautions we could have. But it was a lot of like not really
It didn't
personable in a sense. Like,
it was like
of
in
course.
and out.
Yeah. And it was very like, okay, I'm not going to touch you any more than I have to. And, you know, obviously being a hands-on tradesperson, it's hard because that's a part of my job. I like to make people feel good. I like to make people feel happy. So I think it was difficult. I'm not going to lie. It was difficult. But I was just so grateful that I was able to continue working and to continue doing what I went to school for, because I really, really loved it.
Well, and that's the thing about trades is that during COVID, none of the trades stopped.
Yeah.
That's why they're trades.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, these are the things that keep the planet moving. Right? These are the things that keep society turning. So really, when I talk to everyone about the trades and what happened during COVID, everyone's like, we worked.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the health industry doesn't stop. You know, the beauty industry doesn't stop. The welding, electricians, services, hospitality, none of those things stop.
No.
Right? So,
no, yeah.
So now let's follow the path. Now you have done your esthetician. You're sort of starting to come out of COVID.
Yeah.
Did you decide to go back to school? What was the plan?
So I actually originally, funny enough, I actually didn't want to go into hairstyling. But you got a diploma when you did both of them in VCC. So I was like, I'm going to do this for the diploma. Like, I'm going to, like, you know, get it, have the skills. It wasn't exactly something that I wanted to go
But diploma's
into
a big deal.
necessarily.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I was like halfway there. So I figured, why not do the other half and have those skills? And if I don't want to use it like as like a career one day, at least I can say like I did it and like I'm proud of it. And also, funny enough, as soon as I started hair, I loved it. So I actually I went back to school in 2022 and it was great. I was so happy to be in person. I had an amazing teacher. She was like the best instructor. I was very, very blessed to have 2 amazing instructors, both my aesthetics and hairstyling.
And how long is the hairstyling course?
So it's 1 month longer than aesthetics. So it's 10 months.
Okay.
So it was perfect. I think I started in October and I ended in August.
Nice.
And it was very different than aesthetics, I will say. Very, very different, because you get to be a little bit more free with hairstyling. You get to like do your own thing.
More creative.
I feel like, in aesthetics, it's kind of like step to step to step to step. And I mean, obviously it is, just in a very different sense in hair.
So, you know, we're covering aesthetics, we're covering hairstyling. How many branches is there?
Oh, it's limitless, honestly.
Like,
I would say, like, because you can go in and you can specialize in anything.
Yeah.
There are people who go to hair school and they only do color. They only do cuts. They only, you know, specialize in vivid color. They only, like, it's very, very, like, you can pick exactly what you want to do. And it's the same thing in aesthetics. Obviously aesthetics is a very broad, like, it's an umbrella of services. It's not just like, oh, just manicures and pedicures,
just do aesthetics,
you know, So a lot of people go and they specialize. A lot of people can also step up from after they go to school. They can go into medical aesthetics. They can go and do stuff like that. So
I had a friend do that for at a funeral home. Did makeup.
That is awesome.
Makeup in a funeral home. Made great money. They did it for years. It was like, and they took an esthetician course and they never ever thought, but they saw a funeral home was hiring and they're like, I need a job, just not even thinking. And they're like, well, you're an esthetician. Do you do makeup? It's like, yeah, actually I specialized in makeup. It's like, well, you could be like the makeup person for the dead people.
Yeah.
And it kind of freaked her out at first, but then it ended up being like an amazing job because
Mhm.
she got to like really work with the family to like make the person, the loved one, look
Yeah.
as like they were healthy and how they remember them. And I remember being like, wow, like you actually have like such an important job. Like,
Well, I think that's the thing about aesthetics in life or in death. Everybody wants to feel beautiful. Everyone wants to feel confident.
mhm,
And whether that's personal confidence or your family, your loved ones seeing
mhm,
you for the last time and wanting to see you as you and not as the person who's
mhm.
laying there. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
it's a beautiful thing because it's just so like confidence building. It's so I love it, honestly.
yeah.
It's I'm so glad that I made the career choice to do this.
So once you do those two things for
Mhm.
you, is that when you become a cosmetologist? That's the diploma.
Yeah, so it's the two of them combined together,
Okay.
hairstyling and aesthetics.
And that opens up what kind of doors as a diplomaed cosmetologist?
Well, I can't exactly speak to it too much because I got out of hair and I actually went into admin afterwards because
Okay.
I got my obviously my diploma,
hmm
and then one day, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I'll have my own business. So I want
Yeah.
to
Learn the business
have
side.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like I think most tradespeople are like that. They're like, "Oh, if I could do it myself, I would love to do
Yeah,
that. I would
yeah.
prefer to do it." So I think I'm lucky enough that my boyfriend's family actually has a family business.
Oh, wow.
So I am doing admin for them and I'm learning from
the trade. Yeah,
owners
yeah.
of the business exactly how to run a business and
Mhm.
what to do and just problem solve. And it's a lot different.
Yeah.
I'm not physically like labor doing anything,
Mhm.
so that's a little bit
This is
hard
more
for
theory
me.
now. More
Yeah.
theory. Yeah.
To sit at a desk, it's kind of complicated because I'm so used to,
Being
up
up.
and doing
Yeah.
something, but it's great. I'm having like an amazing time getting to know like every side of the business because I think that's also really important
Mhm.
for when you want to have your own business. You need to know
It's
what
the
you're
part of
doing.
any proper manager, proper leader is to
Mhm.
understand all pieces of business.
Yeah.
Because if you just understand one piece, then that's just the piece you should be working in,
Yeah.
not the whole thing. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
How do you keep your skills up though? Like, I mean, doing something else.
Honestly, I do a lot on myself.
Yeah.
I I also think like I just keep involved with like social media and stuff. Like
Mhm.
I'm always still like looking at aesthetic stuff. Like even if I'm not doing it right now, I'm constantly on social media, whatever, looking at new techniques, another way to
It's
apply
just
it.
interesting to you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's fascinating, honestly. I think also when you choose a career that you really want to do and you're really passionate about, nothing is boring.
Yeah.
You never have a boring day and it's always good.
I got yelled at last night because I pulled out my phone and you just like and I fell down like immediately a rabbit hole. Some guy fabricating something with steel and I was like, ooh, what's he making? And then the
Mhm.
people at the table were like, oh, we're not fun enough. I was like, oh, geez, sorry, I'll put my phone away. Like
Yeah.
instantly this stupid video had me like pulled right in. Like,
But you know what? Those fast videos, those
Mhm.
less than 60-second videos, those are the ones that get you in. Or if it's like really, really satisfying, I
Yeah.
find that that's the videos that I love to watch. And it just so happens a lot of them are pimple popping videos or whatever. Like you're trimming the cuticles and it's super satisfying.
And so some of that stuff that would be considered perhaps distasteful to some
Mhm.
people, that's
Oh.
part of the gig, right? That's part of the gig.
It
Like the
is.
pimple popping, the
Mhm.
cutting of cuticles, ingrown toenails, stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
and
love it.
all my esthetician friends are the same. They're like, that's the fun
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
When you have a little bit of a challenge, it's perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I have a friend in Africa. She owns 2 spas out there. She's very involved. And so I watch her videos all the time because she posts on social all the time. And one of the things that I see coming up on her social media all the time that I find so interesting is all the new technology that seems to be coming up. Like now she's getting into the cupping, and the cupping's a big thing in her field. And I see like laser treatments and like these things like these like zapping things for faces and freezing things for bellies that you roll, cold treatments and butt building, and
Yeah.
there's all this stuff. Like, how do you keep up with that And what works and what doesn't? Like, I mean, I feel like maybe I'm just a skeptic, but I feel like some of it might just be a selling tool. Like, how do you know what's right and what's not? Yeah.
I mean, I think it really depends on personal preference.
Yeah.
I think it really does.
If you
The
wanted
beauty
its game,
industry,
yeah.
in any day and age, it's changing.
Mm-hmm.
There's always trends. There's always something to go off of, but I just think embrace the change.
Go
like
for it.
not everything that was from 20 years ago works. Not
Mhm.
everything from right now works.
Will work. Yeah.
Exactly. But there's techniques from literally hundreds of years ago that are the basic steps
Like
of the beauty
like brush your
industry.
hair.
Like massage techniques, like just basic
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
It's really interesting because you can see how much we've taken and how much we've kind of left behind,
yeah.
and allowed it. And there's a lot of stuff that's come back up that we've left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's amazing.
padded shoulders. It's back. High-waisted jeans. My mom tells me all the time. I used to dress like that when I was a kid.
Yeah. I seen the bell bottoms are back, wide leg jeans. I'm like, whatever. It's all
People are
good.
calling yoga pants wide-legged leggings. That was insane to me. I was like, no, that's not correct.
All right, so let's talk about your skills journey now. Like, that was your career.
Mhm.
Now, when you were in the first part of this, that 9-month course as an esthetician,
Mhm.
was that when you got into skills, or was it during your second round when you went for hair
Mhm.
when you got into skills, or is this like two separate journeys?
So funny enough, I did hear about it when I was in aesthetics, but obviously we went into COVID, so they didn't
Mhm.
have anything. And I think like my instructor, she really honestly, she believed in me. And that was one of the biggest things. And she, I think at the time I had an instructor and I had an assistant instructor, I think. And my assistant instructor, she ended up becoming an esthetician teacher. And she was like, you should do this. And it just so happened to be when I was in hair.
Mm.
So I had been in the industry of aesthetics already for 2 years, and I had like outsourced like experience.
Yeah,
So I just was like, why not?
yeah. Let's go for it.
It's perfect. I'm up for it. I
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
challenge. So I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. Regardless of whatever happened, like I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. And it did. It was so much fun. It was so fun being creative and like being with other people in my industry. I think that was like one of the best things.
And how did that first go turn out?
For provincials?
For like, for like even like in
Mhm.
your school,
Mhm.
how was it the decision made that you were going to be the one to go to provincials?
Mhm.
Tell us about like that little bit of a journey.
Okay, so like I said, I had an assistant teacher who actually ended up having her own class, and her and my instructor, she really, really believed in me. Both of them did, and so they told me like, why don't you try it? And so I did, and I got the great big booklet of exactly what we were supposed to do,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I started practicing. I was practicing a few times, and I had friends come to the school, and just so I could do it. I would do it like on the off days when I wasn't in hair,
Mhm.
and I would just practice at school. So, um, in my competition year, we had like a few things that we needed to do. So it was like creative makeup. I had a gel manicure with nail art. I had like a hot stone massage. There's a few other things that I'm missing, but
Yeah.
so I just practiced,
Yeah.
and then it just so happened that the school that we were competing against to go to provincials for BC,
Mhm.
they dropped out literally the day
Really? Out?
before. Yeah, they completely
happened?
dropped out. I'm not sure exactly what happened with
That's
them.
a big decision. Yeah.
Yeah, but 3 people were competing for my school.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was a given that all of us got on the podium,
Yeah.
of course. There was 3 people.
Did you win?
Yeah, so I won gold out of the time, and I was also practicing with the people who I was competing against that were also going to BCC. So that was a really great experience. I'm really happy that I did that. So obviously I won, and then my coach, she was like, "Okay, we got to get ready for the next
Yeah,
thing."
let's roll.
And because she had been in previous competitions, she was a judge for a while, and so she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So I was just very intrigued. I was ready to go and I was good to go. So I don't know if it's the same in every province, but it was just a little bit different. So provincials was like a little bit more basic. And then nationals, it was
It's
like
way
just a little
harder.
bit topped up.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
little bit. So I mean, it was good. I went to nationals and it was in my home province, BC. I didn't have to go anywhere.
That's kind of too bad though, because you want to travel, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was still great. They still
Yeah.
gave me a hotel and I was like a minute away from the
So that was
convention
last
center.
year?
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, I was out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. I really loved the environment. But yeah, so I went to nationals.
And how'd you do?
I did great. Actually, surprisingly, I didn't even think that I
Yeah.
placed.
Yeah.
But I think the people who I competed with, they were just like the most amazing people.
Just
because
a good click.
yeah, usually in the beauty industry, it's very like cliquey and it's very kind of like we're all in competition with each other. And that was kind of like the first time
You
I
were
had
feeling that.
ever felt like we're just going to compete and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, everyone's just trying
And
their
we were
hardest.
all
Yeah.
so happy for each other. It was great. It was a great experience. So my coach ended up being pulled to be a judge.
Oh, so
I
then she
think
can't help
literally
you.
the day before. So we couldn't even talk to
Yeah,
each other during
that's
that time.
hard.
It was hard. But luckily I had practiced enough to know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And
You were just standing there being like, now what?
yeah, exactly. So I was really, really happy. Day 1, day 2 competition went by. I've never felt that type of energy before. Like when we first walked in and we were representing BC, we were walking into the opening ceremonies. It was honestly one of the craziest feelings I've ever had.
Man, those kids yesterday during opening ceremonies yesterday, they'll never forget that moment,
No.
right? Like just like you didn't forget that moment.
Well, and it's even like imprinted in my mind
Yeah.
now. Like I will always remember that feeling.
Yeah.
Always. Like I'll be like 80 years old with dementia and I'll be like, I remember
that day. Yeah, that
I remember
day.
that. I
Yeah.
remember the feeling.
excitement in the air, everyone just, and plus post COVID, first one back. It's like, okay, they were trying to make it as big as possible within the limits, and it was not bad size.
Yeah.
And the convention center looked beautiful in
I love the
Vancouver.
convention
It
center.
was wonderful there.
Mhm.
Plus, there was Pokemon conference happening next door. Did you know that?
No, I mean, I was so into
Yeah,
the
you were
competition, I
in
just
that.
didn't
So
even
I
know.
was there, and there was a Pokemon conference next door. I went, B from the NAC.
Yeah.
Me and B snuck out to go to the Pokemon conference for a
No
day.
way.
Yeah, it
That
was
would have been
It was pretty cool.
awesome. Oh, that's so cool. No, I like, but there is things like that. Like you just totally didn't even realize that a lot of stuff was happening because
Yeah.
you're so in your zone.
Just
You're
zoned,
so
yeah.
ready to go.
And what place did you get?
I won gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got a gold medal winner in the house.
Yeah. So actually, funny story is I didn't even think I had placed.
You didn't feel good about your day?
I wasn't as confident in myself. I think everyone can relate to you're the hardest on yourself. So you're always so much more critical of yourself than anyone will ever be of you. So I noticed, like, I was just like, it just so happened that all of the women that I was competing with were just amazing. They were great at what they did. They were great at their experience. Like,
and was it all women? Was there any men in the competition?
no, there wasn't. And it is very rare that you see, I won't say rare.
But not as common.
Not as common.
It seems to be a more female-dominated industry.
In my actual aesthetics class, I had one male in my class.
Yeah, my brother took hairdressing, so he was a male, and he didn't last. It was hard for him, even.
It's really
work-wise.
hard.
I think it's better now with barber shops and in the world, but I think in my brother 25 years ago, when he got into it, it was very rare, and he tried specializing, color specialist, and he went down that path, but it's still. He kind of had to pick a different career after a bit. I think today he would have done better.
I think also sometimes it's not the right time and place. It's not that you're not doing the right thing. It's just not the right time and place.
Yeah, just not right now.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I think the universe brings you everything when you're meant to have it. I think that's just
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, everything happens for a reason. I'm just that type of person. Everything happens for a reason.
So you win the gold medal. What happens now? You do like the yippee yays and
I was so excited, but you know what? as soon as so both of the people who placed below me, bronze and
Silver.
silver. What are the
The other
colors?
bronze.
Bronze and silver. Both of them, their names were Megan, and I loved those girls. They
Yeah.
were amazing. So as soon as I got called for first place, I was kind of just like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was just like, I had no idea.
Did you feel immediately a little bit sad too for them for like
I did,
Yeah.
but I was also so happy and so proud. Like
Of everybody.
we went through like a hard 2 days of like, you
Mhm.
know, like just the stress of a
yeah,
competition.
not sleeping, not eating well, everything's
Regardless
madness.
of how great the
Yeah.
people are that you're competing with, like I said, I had a 10 out of 10 supportive group.
Mhm.
Like they were absolutely amazing. But actually, as soon as I like got announced like that I had won, the first thing that I did was I ran to hug my competitors.
Good,
Because
good.
I was just so proud. We were all so proud of each other. And it didn't feel like a competition because we were just having fun. It was good. We liked what we were doing, and we were helping each other. Like
Yeah.
there were things that like usually when you're in a competition, you want the other person to lose.
Yeah, it's like
We were
cutthroat,
all
yeah.
rooting for each other.
Like those cooking shows where you see like the guy hide the pan on the other person.
Yeah,
It's
no.
like, oh, that's dirty.
It was not like that. We were giving each other like advice. We were like,
Mhm.
oh no, clear out your garbage can. You forgot to do that. Like they'll take off points for it. So like we were all just super supportive of each other. But that's the first thing I did. I went and ran and I hugged my competitors. I was so happy for them. I was so happy for me. And again, I'll never forget that feeling.
And you know, you don't do it for a living now. Like you're kind of learning
Mhm.
other things. But immediately following the competition, you know,
Mhm.
with this gold medal in your back pocket,
Mhm.
did it affect your career? Did it affect your like what you were going to do for work like next week? You know, like you're coming out of there. That's a big deal. And I only know the welding side, but when the you know when
Mhm.
our guys or girls win a medal, they're already thinking like I'm going to get top job. Like I'm going to
Mhm.
go chase this now.
Yeah, honestly, I think it just completely validated that I was actually good at what I
Mhm.
went into, what I spent the money on, what I took the time to do, that I was actually like validated in
Mhm.
that. And like I got nationally and provincially recognized. That to me in
It's
itself
huge.
was just like such an accomplishment. And
Yeah.
I felt worthy. I felt like I proved myself. And I felt like I was like, I picked the right career choice.
Yeah.
And it's hard to talk about it now because obviously I'm doing the other end of it. I'm doing the business
But that
end of
doesn't
it
make it
now.
wrong at all.
But
Right? Yeah.
it's still my passion. I still love it so much.
Mhm.
I do it on myself. I give myself pedicures all the time. It makes my back hurt, but it's worth it. And yeah, it's
A-
great.
And then what about, you know, in terms of the volunteerism,
Mhm.
you know, because you have mentors that help support you through it all.
Mhm.
Then you get to provincials and you see the structure of all the people helping the volunteers, the provincial skills committees, the PTCs, the NTCs, the NAC, all these groups that work together.
Mhm.
Then you get to nationals and then you see the even bigger picture of
Mhm.
all these people to make these huge events get off the ground and the thousands of people that work at it.
Mhm.
At what point do you think in your personal life, like, I want to get involved on that side? Was it right after competing or was it even
Oh.
during competition? You're like, when I'm done, I want to be more involved.
It was honestly during the competition
Yeah.
because I had a little bit of a unique experience because in BC, we didn't have the provincials at the TradeX Center that year. It
Mm.
was hosted at my school. So I was in the room that I had learned everything
In your
in.
chair,
I
in your
was
stuff, your
100%
tools.
comfortable
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
provincials. Because I was in a comfortable space. I had learned all of my aesthetics in that room. And I was confident in myself and
Mhm.
I was ready and it was good. Like, but as much as I say like I was ready, I was also so nervous.
Oh, for sure. That's a different
It's a
thing.
competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was just like, again, I wanted to prove myself.
And
I
like you said
wanted,
earlier, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to screw this up. I don't want to
Mhm.
panic. I don't want to overthink this. Like, I got to breathe. I got to relax. Like, all these things that you got to like remember to do,
Yeah.
right? Like,
My hands are sweaty and I really don't want to touch this girl's face. Like I'm like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But no, I think it was a great experience. But as soon as I got to the competition and I walked into the convention center for the first
Mhm.
time, I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
this is like real. This is legit. Like, I was like,
It's a big deal.
this is like a whole competition.
Yeah, with like big fancy
It
sponsors
was
and everything. Yeah.
insane. And I was just like, I was kind of just shocked that I got picked to be in something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like my instructors and my teachers, they saw something in me that I could get there.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I did. It was kind of crazy.
And then what led you to volunteer with the NAC? Like what was it? Was there any time off, or did you immediately reach out to somebody and say, look, I want to give back, I want to get involved, or how do I help? What was that process?
So actually they reached out to me.
Oh,
which
you
was
got voluntold.
Yeah. I did. I totally accepted it though. I was totally willing to, because you know what? It has impacted my life like so much, even if I didn't win. I think that experience in its own, like getting to this stage, getting to provincials, getting to nationals, that in itself, regardless of whether you win or not, whether you're on the podium, it's an accomplishment.
Yep.
And when they said that in the opening ceremonies last year, I didn't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I was like, yes,
you know,
yes, I know. I was like, believe him.
I had the same talk with the welders yesterday morning in orientation. Went and got in front of all the welders. And I was like, hey, you know, like, I know everyone here wants to win. You're looking around, eyeing each other. These are going to be your best friends for the next 3 days and possibly the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, you guys all need to work together, and it's not you against each other. It's you against the world.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that takes a team, and it's all like, you know, the things you're going to learn, what you're going to feel, and the connections you're making are forever. And there's no price on that. There's no, like, I mean, it's awesome.
Like, I'll never, ever forget the people that I competed with.
Yeah.
They were the most amazing, kind people. And I was just like, honestly, it was a privilege to meet them.
Do you connect with them still, like just through socials? Or?
We have social media. We have each other on social media. We did reach out after the competition. Obviously, it's been a year since then. But like, I still do try and stay engaged in social media as much as I can. Obviously, because I'm not doing aesthetics right now. I'm not as active on my aesthetics page, but I'm definitely like, I'm always rooting for them. They're always going to be people that I'm like going to cheer on. Yeah. You know? Or like if they were ever to reach out to me and like be like, I'm in BC, like I would be so happy to see them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, in terms of like what you're going to do going forward, you know, you're talking about you'd love to get this business knowledge in you. Start a salon perhaps, or a spa or something. What's the future for you? You know, what's the future? What's the dream state that you're looking for, both professionally and perhaps with skills?
Honestly, I just really want to be able to do what my coach did for me. Like, she was such an amazing person. Shout out Audrey. She was amazing. Like, she honestly made me believe in myself even when I didn't and I didn't want to go practice. Like, she was like, you got this. Like, she always just like took me back to who I was. And I want to be that for somebody else. I want to be that person to say like, hey, you know what? Like, maybe you're having an off day, but like, you have to remember who you are.
Yeah, stay on it.
Like, on the inside. Yeah. And you know what? Even to this day, like, I went and saw her after I graduated with my cap and gown. I was so happy, and just she made such a like a monumental time, like for me in my life, that like always like I'll go to the college just to visit her. Yeah. Like, I'm like, hi, how are you?
I was at an event in Regina a couple months ago, and I invited my mentor from 30 years ago. I was like, come on out. Oh, I don't got tickets. I'll buy your ticket. I just want to see you. I haven't hung out. Like, I mean, and it's so cute because he's a little old man now, and he's so proud of what I've done with my career. Yeah. And I was like, dude, this is like 80% you, honestly. Like,
yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people and coaches don't get enough credit.
Yeah.
I think because, you know, they're obviously masters at what they do.
Yeah.
Because
and sometimes
teaching
students just
else.
get successful and move on.
Yeah.
Right. But they know. They know.
No, and I was super happy to share my achievements with them, because they're also a part of those achievements, you know. They're the ones that taught me everything I know. And if it wasn't for them, like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
And with your involvement with skills, where do you see that going?
Honestly, I really like it. So far, I'm really, really enjoying it.
Is it a lot of work to be on the NAC? Is it like, what?
I mean, like you do have to kind of like put in work for
Mhm.
sure. It's not something that is like really
A gimme. Yeah.
yeah, no. Because we also are trying to implement change in skills. We're trying to make it better. We're trying to take the feedback of the competitors. We're trying to, do that. And we bring it to the skills board.
Yeah.
And, I just think if you need anything done, come to the NAC.
You guys have that inside lane, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's great. It's my first year, and I've never done anything like this before, but I was so willing to because of how great of an experience that I had at Skills.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Last couple questions to wrap up the
Perfect.
interview. First one is in terms of your skill sets, so like if you look at right before you entered the esthetician course to today, where you are, even with like the business and where you go with the admin learning, what are the one or two skills that you definitely needed to work on to make this path work?
Honestly, I think communication was one of the biggest things because in like a touch-based industry, like it has to be like you just have to be able to communicate clearly. I think it's like such a big thing. It also makes other people feel comfortable when you're saying like, hey, if you feel uncomfortable at all, let me know and we can adjust from there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But like communication for sure, but also like just practical skills.
Yeah, just
like
just the hands-on time practicing.
Yeah, I think out of all of it, you just have to be passionate. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to want to learn. You always want to stay updated and everything, especially with the beauty community.
Yeah.
And
then for the last question, what piece of advice would you give someone, say a young girl, young guy looking to get into the beauty industry? They're looking at the different programs and the calendars. It can be confusing, lots of different things going on. What would be like some advice you'd give someone young that's just trying to get into this industry?
Do it. Do it. Believe in yourself. Have a good team behind you. Have a good support system. Have somebody, because it's not an easy task. It's amazing to get to the end, but you have to struggle a little bit. You have to get through the mud to get to the beautiful road, the beautiful paved road. But that's my advice.
But it's doable.
Do
it's
it.
very doable. Yeah.
Like be confident in yourself, be passionate. That's one of my biggest things is be passionate.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to do this for the rest of your life, you might as well enjoy it. There is a lot of people in older generations that just worked to work.
Yeah.
But I think my generation is like, oh no, like we're doing it because we enjoy it, not because we have to.
Well, and the world's different. Before you could just work to work and that paid for the house and the boat and the cabin and the this and the that. Now no one's getting that anymore. Like unless you got rich parents, that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to have to work and slug it out just to have the basics, you might as well like what you do, because that's going to really make it worse if you don't. You know what I mean?
Well, I think also people say like if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is true. Like honestly, if you're just happy with what you do and you're happy and passionate and, just everything.
It's not a chore.
Yeah, it's not. It becomes like, okay, I'm going to work. I'm going to have a good day. And even if it isn't a good day, the next day is going to be different.
Yeah, it's not the end of the
everything
world.
Is, everything happens for a reason. Every life lesson needs to be learned. But that's the thing. Every mistake you make is a lesson you learn from.
Very wise.
Yeah.
Very wise.
Thank you.
All right. So any shout outs, anything you want to say to anybody, any information you want to throw out there for people about Scales, VCC, wherever? Like,
honestly, I think if you ever have the opportunity to go into Skills, I would take it. Take the jump, do it. Even if you feel nervous, like I was super nervous when they told me like, oh, do you want to be in this great big competition? Like, I was like, I don't know necessarily if I want to do that, but I think take the jump.
Yeah.
The jump is it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great advice. Thank you very much, Rosa, for being on the show today. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome, cool. And to all the people who have been following along, this is part of a much larger series, all being released throughout the month of June. So if you caught this one randomly, make sure you check up on all the other ones. I'm interviewing all the NAC and some of the brass from out here at Skills. And make sure you download, share, send it to your friends and comment. We want comments in the comments section to tell us how you're doing. And then from there, we're going to keep going on and running the show here and having fun in Winnipeg, Manitoba here at the Skills National Competencies. And it's lots and lots of fun. It's huge, huge show. So thank you very much and stay tuned for the next one.
We hope you enjoyed the show.